Welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I am your host, Producer J, along with my other co-host, Brother Zay. What is up?
What's going on?
Been great. It's been a fun week, and not just because I was off, but there's been a lot of games I've been playing. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you that you can like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and you can go on the links in our description, which will support us. You can support us by supporting our sponsors, W Energy, NordVPN, and Starforge Systems. We thank you for supporting them, and we thank them for supporting us. Well, with that being said, what are you playing, Brother Zay?
Man, so we always play the Divinity Original Sin every Sunday. We're literally at the end. It's like the last boss fight. So we are almost finished with Divinity Original Sin. Of course, I've been playing a ton of Black Ops. I'm almost Prestige 1.
Already? Damn.
I got one gun gold. I'm working on my second gun. So we're moving along. Other than that, here and there, I'm still doing an evil playthrough on Baldur's Gate 3. And it's been a lot of fun. Just being an asshole and killing everybody.
I always question what that would be like, because in every RPG that I play, I always do the good guy because that's just naturally what I go towards. It's always interesting. I always say I wanted to, for Mass Effect specifically, I always say I want to do a renegade run just for the fun of it because I've never done it. But I don't know when I'll do that. So.
Well, Baldur's Gate 3 just came out with a bunch of mods, especially for console. So I downloaded some mods to help it along the way, so I can make the game faster, because I already know the whole story, all the good side of the story. Of course, there's many different things you could do. So I figured, let me download some mods, let me just play an evil playthrough and just go crazy. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been very evil.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm so close to playing Baldur's Gate 3 because I want to do a co-op session with my fiance because she was interested in playing it too. Because I basically told her it's just D&D, the video game. So she was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of understand that." So it's just finding the time to do it because it's gonna be a few hours. I don't want to just do it quick 30 minutes before bed. It's no, that's not enough. So,
no. It's not enough to get you into the first chapter.
Right, yeah. So, eventually we'll get into that. It's just work and all that stuff. Because even though I'm off, she's working. So, it's not... And then Halloween and all that stuff. You gotta do trick-or-treating. It's not a lot of time. So, yeah, eventually we'll get to that. But I have been playing, as you said, a lot of Black Ops.
Yeah.
That game is so fun. Honestly, I feel like I'm back in high school, playing Call of Duty and just being excited for it and stuff like that. It's just...
You were in high school when Black Ops came out? Dang.
Yeah, you old, bro.
Dang. Dang. Showing my age.
But, so I've been mainly doing the story because I want to... That's my thing, now... I mean, I didn't do it for Modern Warfare 3 because there's basically no story,
Yeah.
But I did it for Modern Warfare 2, and I want to do it for this one because I heard the story was really good, and it is really good. I've played through, I feel like I'm almost done with it. I'm doing it on Veteran, which I want to say, it could be just me, but I feel like the older Call of Duties were way harder on Veteran than this one. Because I feel like, it's a challenge, but it's not as big of a challenge as I thought.
You don't have 30 grenades landing at your feet at once?
No. I do remember that. Maybe that's why it's not as...
I think that's all Veteran and all the highest, hardest level difficulties for Call of Duty. I think that's what they do. Just tossing a bunch of grenades at you. RPGs, grenades, and that's all it is.
The main thing I noticed is that freaking every gun that the enemy has is a sniper rifle. Because they will shoot you all the way from across the map. You don't even see where they're at, but they'll get you. Literally, there's one part...
No spoilers.
And it's kind of like an open area.
Okay.
and you have to like snipe a bunch of people from far, and literally like as because you have to be stealth and stuff like that. So as soon as you shoot one, and then like somebody else notices, they instantly everybody knows, and then you start getting shot at, even though they're like freaking miles and miles away. They
That's
still
ridiculous.
somehow get you with like freaking regular assault rifles from sniper distance, and I'm just like, how Sway? But yeah, so I've been playing that and it's really good. There's a lot of like it feels like a classic like Black Ops espionage type game, and it's like that's why I feel like I'm back in high school because like this is what I love and this is what I like.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I definitely recommend if anybody's itching for that classic Call of Duty story mode campaign feel. Black Ops 6 is it's right up your alley, and they have a few interesting turns in there that you wouldn't expect. So,
And I can't wait to jump into the campaign myself. I only did the first two missions just to give it a try, but I haven't had time. I haven't had time.
yeah, no, I mean it's really good. I'm telling you, like it's I want to I don't want to say it's the best like Call of
Oh,
Duty campaign, but it's up there. I want to say maybe it's like top five.
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad we are all enjoying Black Ops 6 because it was a record breaker for Microsoft and Xbox. They're talking about the largest single day growth for Game Pass, and I think they published a 2025 2025 quarter one earnings report, and Satya Nadella was on this sort of like an earnings call with investors and stuff, and you're talking about the launch of Black Ops 6 and how it has broken all kinds of records, single day records, the amount of hours played on the first day, just so many records being broken for Call of Duty. Um, and this also includes sales. So it was charting on Steam with over 300,000 players, and those are people who brought the game fully, not playing just on Game Pass. So Game Pass was having its largest bump they've seen on any launch. The sales were great. The hours played, the number of people playing was just it was really. I think for Satya Nadella specifically, and for I say the board of directors or whoever their investors that they talk to, it was really great launch for Microsoft, and they're out there touting all of their percentages increases and numbers increases for Game Pass. It's been really really good for Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise when people were saying that like this is the best Call of Duty, and it's like there's a reason why it's people are playing it so much is
Yep.
because like it's that good. And that's why people are flocking to it even on Game Pass and sales and all that stuff. And it also kind of flies in the face of people who are saying, "Oh, Game Pass is going to kill Call of Duty," like blah blah blah. Like no, like if it's a good game, people will buy it, and that's all there is to it. Like I mean, I although I think the sales on or not the sales, the numbers on Game Pass are higher for Xbox. So,
Yeah.
obvious, but that's obvious, you know. You expect people on Xbox to play on Game Pass, but even on PC, like I don't know, like I remember I was playing on my ROG Ally, I was playing through the Xbox app, and when I don't know if there's crossplay enabled on that. I'm assuming there is. When
Yeah.
I was playing it, all I saw was like Xbox logos. So it's like even on PC there were because it shows like the little logo if it's on a PC or whatever.
Yeah, the little people
Um, yeah, so even on PC, it's like people are playing through Xbox on Game Pass.
all game.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's just a sign of that this was a success, and this is exactly what they needed because a lot of people had doubts, a lot of people had reservations about Call of Duty being on Xbox. There was people saying it wasn't gonna come on Game Pass, that they were still gonna just sell it regular, and it's like no, that this was the goal. They wanted Call of Duty on Game Pass. So it's this is great. This is great news for the future of like not just Call of Duty but ABK and Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, because they do go on to talk about in the that same earnings call how revenue was up significantly. I think it was like 64%, and most of it, I think like 50% of that was coming from ABK alone. So that everything is up except for, of course, hardware sales. Hardware sales was down 29%. But
Yeah.
that I think uh to that specifically is to be expected when you're 4 years into a generation and people are already talking and looking to the future on what they can do with the next Xbox or the next PlayStation. People are looking for the next system already. So people are not going to go out and buy a Series X. I think there's actually no real reason to when you can have Game Pass on your phone, a tablet, a laptop, anything, just play all the Game Pass games. I think that's their ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really. I mean, sure, it's still kind of like, ooh, 29% negative for hardware sales, but also at the same time they're up in every single thing else.
Yeah, I think people who look at like hardware sales as the end all be all are still looking at it from like an early 2000s point of view because that's what was the bread and butter. Like it was console sales. Like I mean, granted, it was also game sales and stuff like that, but console sales was like the barometer of how successful you are. So
Yeah,
like when you look at it from that point of view, like obviously it's gonna look bad, but we're in a different generation now. Like not just like in terms of like Series X or whatever, but we're in a new like era of gaming where it's not just tied to the console. It's everything. And I would have to assume that Xbox and Microsoft like they knew the repercussions of taking this route of embracing cloud and embracing PC and embracing mobile games as all in one ecosystem. You're gonna see reduced revenue in those sectors. Not revenue, but like two other areas, you're gonna see reduction in console sales. That
yeah,
was a necessary risk in order to fulfill their goal of having what was it like 3 billion, 4 billion players or something crazy like that.
yeah,
I know that's like still like a pipe dream. Like obviously you're never gonna have that much people, but you want to strive for it because you want more, and that's the biggest area for growth is everywhere else. Like you're
yeah.
not gonna grow just with the console. You have to
You
embrace PC. You have to embrace mobile. You have to embrace cloud. It's
exactly,
everywhere, and that's what
exactly.
we're seeing now from Sony. We're seeing now them expand to other areas, starting with PC and potentially other platforms. Maybe Nintendo. I mean, including Nintendo. They have the Horizon game on Nintendo, and possibly Xbox in the future. We don't know, but it sure seems that way.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get to that absurd number of 3 to 4 billion players or monthly active users, you're gonna need PC, mobile. You're gonna need other platforms like where you saw where Xbox put their games on PlayStation. You can't get those numbers without having to be everywhere. And I think
Yeah,
Xbox knows that, or Microsoft knows that because they're a data company. They know this. So they've been working toward it for a while now, where everybody else is just realizing and just trying to catch up to this. So it's very telling about how Xbox is always looking to the future and trying to be a step ahead.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, enough about earnings calls. Nobody wants to hear about that. People want to hear about Nintendo's brand new music app. That's right. Nintendo
Everybody
has a
wants this.
yes, everybody. You must download it now. Nintendo has a music streaming app for Switch Online subscribers. So it's out already for Android and iOS where you can listen to Nintendo music only.
Yeah,
And you can listen to music like from games like Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Legend of Zelda. Apparently, I guess they're gonna be putting more on there because not very many choices as of right now.
yeah.
But if you have subscription to Nintendo Switch Online, you can download the app on your phone and enjoy some gaming music. Uh, I don't know what to think of this.
So this is one thing in a long line of ideas that Nintendo has where they truly believe that their audience only exists in Nintendo's ecosystem. Like everybody who owns a Switch only uses the Switch. They don't watch anything else, they don't play anything else, they don't listen to anything else. They don't even have a smartphone. They just use the Switch. Nintendo has this mindset that all of their users only use their stuff. So it's like it's so odd that they would make this product. Not to say that it's a bad thing, because it's cool that it has like it's a dedicated app to listen to like specific game music, and the idea of it is on paper it sounds good, but it's just like in practice it's just like it doesn't make sense, because like you have so many other streaming services like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. Why not make a playlist on there and release songs on there? So it's like you can get that revenue. But no, this is Nintendo. They want 100% of that revenue. Even though it's included in the Nintendo Online subscription, they want people to subscribe to that. Yeah. So it's silly, because realistically, if you really want to listen to these music, just go on YouTube. You can find it. I'm pretty sure people have uploaded it. And sometimes even Nintendo themselves have uploaded it. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like they've done so many things that it's just they even have an alarm clock now.
Yes,
like the alarm was like, what are you doing, Nintendo? They're just doing shit now because they can just get away with it. It's like we know people are gonna buy our shit. Like we don't gotta worry about that. Let's just try stuff.
I think it's the smoke and mirrors. This is like the music app and the Alarmo is all smoke and mirrors to try and help us forget about the Switch 2 being delayed. I swear it's being delayed.
You think it's being delayed?
There's no way it's coming out this year.
No, it's never coming out this year.
Yeah, and if it, I haven't talked at all about it. No designs, no nothing. What we got was potential leaks, but who knows if that was even real? You know, I think it's just smoke and mirrors for them to try and stay away from and talking about or mentioning Nintendo Switch 2.
I mean, maybe, but I think there's still time to announce it, and because I feel like Nintendo likes to launch stuff. Well, ever since the Switch, or did they launch the Wii U in the spring? I don't think so. But with the Switch, they launched it in the springtime, so that way they were like to themselves. They didn't have to worry about anybody else. Granted, there was nothing else launching at that time, so it really doesn't matter. I guess they could launch whenever they want. But I think there's still time to announce it, like maybe sometime in November, and then release it in the spring. But yeah, it's just they are definitely biding time for something, for some reason. Like I don't know, maybe they're saving it for like the Game Awards. I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll see. But it's definitely one of those questionable moves from Nintendo, among many.
It's definitely questionable. I don't know who's going to sit there and be like, hey, let's download this app and just listen to this music. Unless they have the Nintendo script.
That's another thing
ready?
Too. Like, that's another thing too. Like I don't know anybody who would just listen to Nintendo music. Like maybe video game music, but then it's like it's just Nintendo. Like what if I want to listen to from other games? Like I don't know. It's just weird. Because then it's just Nintendo games, not even like third parties that are on. I mean, maybe they will it if they strike up a deal with them, but I don't know, it just seems so pointless.
It's very odd. I mean, Nintendo does odd things all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I don't know I still don't know what to think of it. I'm not even gonna look at this because I feel like if I download the app, log in, it doesn't work, and then I end up paying for Nintendo Online for a month just to hear this, just to try it out. I'm going to be upset.
I think there's only like 5 games on there right now, and it's just like freaking the Wii Shop channel and like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker or something like that.
Oh, Wind Waker? No, don't do this. Don't do this.
No, don't do it.
Tell me that. Don't tell me that.
You know what he said? You're like, oh, Wind Waker?
You see what you've
done?
On
YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's okay.
All right. I'll look up the link later. All right, let's continue on. We're gonna talk this time about Grand Theft Auto 6 potentially being teased or revealed through a wild conspiracy theory online about the moon phases for any leaks. So they have a leaked picture or a picture that they release. They look at the moon and check to see when the moon phase is according to the calendar, and they think that day is when sort of something will come out, whether it be a trailer or a release date or just Rockstar talking about GTA 6. Honestly, I don't know how true this is, but I think the GTA 6 conspiracy theories need to stop. They need some help. You guys need to go outside, touch some grass, because this is getting too much. You're looking at the moon phase in a picture for anything GTA related, and then saying this is when it could possibly be coming out.
So, all right. So I thought the same thing, and I was like, well, these people are so desperate to try and predict the release date of trailers and stuff like that that they're just saying anything at this point.
Uh-huh.
But then I looked at, so I sent you like the link of what they were talking about, and right underneath, like the second comment, they also posted like verification because they did the same thing for the original trailer, the first trailer, and Rockstar posted an image with the moon phase, and it pointed to December 1st as like that was the moon phase. And the trailer released December 1st. So there is some merit to this idea, this theory.
They got him. They got producer J. That's it.
I mean, I'm just saying, if the first one was correct, this one might be correct too. I mean, there's also, I mean, we wouldn't say it in like the breakdown, but before the show, but I sent the thing that Rockstar was purposely gonna delay the game just to fuck with people.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could still do that. Like I wouldn't put it past them because that's just Rockstar. Like, and I would hope so because I would be in the benefit of $5 from it. But
Hey, calm down now.
but yeah, so like it could be that they're messing with people. Like that's just how Rockstar operates. And that's kind of like the GTA's thing. Like it's always making fun of stuff. So maybe they saw that people were messing or like looking too deep into like the moon phases stuff, so they did it again to try and like troll people. I don't know. But
I would believe Rockstar is trolling people more so than the moon phase in a picture being released. I think the trolling is more in line with logic and reason.
true. You're right.
That's just me because I'm not looking too deep. I just want to play the video game. These people who are looking very in depth into these pictures and then trying to figure out moon phases for trailers and or release dates. That's insane to me. I don't get it.
I mean, nobody said it wasn't, but but I mean, it is around the time where there should be another trailer dropping. So I think that's why like people are just very antsy. So they're trying to find anything that can be some type of confirmation. And the fact that Rockstar did post an update it was for GTA Online, but the fact that they posted anything, I mean, people just look into stuff like that. So I do think we will see a trailer very soon. It's not going to be at the Game Awards. I'm saying this again. It's not going to be at the Game Awards because I remember last year we went through this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be its own thing. It's going to be its own day. But yeah, it should be coming anytime soon though. Hopefully with a like firm release date because I think that's what people are expecting at this point.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they'll have a firm release date. What I do know is it definitely won't be at the Game Awards. I mean, they don't. Someone like Rockstar doesn't need the Game Awards like vision to be there. Or they have their own spectacle. They can just release it in a Twitter post, and that Twitter post will go super viral instantly. They don't need the Game Awards, so it definitely doesn't have to be at the Game Awards. I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I
Like,
mean, even then, like, re so remember when they released the last one, it was only because it got leaked early. Remember that?
which one? GTA 5?
No, the GTA 6, the first trailer.
Oh, yes, that is
So it
correct.
got leaked early. And that was mostly because of the YouTube thing. They uploaded it and people did something to get it. So,
Oh, it was
um,
hackers, right? The hacker, like a kid. He,
I don't remember
yeah, I
exactly.
think it was that he hacked into his father's workstation, who worked at worked from home on the game, and he like downloaded a bunch of stuff from his workstation and then uploaded it to YouTube.
Oh, that's what it was? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah. So that's what happened last time. So they were just like, get ahead of it, demonetize all that, take it all off, and just put something else out so that way we can get all the positive like PR from it instead of some, snot-nosed kid who thinks they can just do that.
Yeah. Well, either way. Well, one question is, I mean, this has been a question for months at this point. I mean, maybe like the whole year since it's been announced. Um, who's gonna have the marketing rights? Because that's always been an issue, not an issue, but that's always been a topic of discussion for GTA. And for the most part, they tend to not do it up until like closer to the release date. So do you think they'll cave? You think Sony is gonna pony up the money, or you think Xbox might sweep it up?
Does Sony
Because
have enough money for this?
I mean,
I mean,
maybe
they may.
they don't. They don't
They just
have.
closed down a bunch of studios.
Well, not just that, but they don't have to pay for marketing for Call of Duty no more. So, or maybe all that money will go to GTA.
I mean, who knows? They just lost $400 million.
Well, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I don't think we hear about it anytime soon though, but maybe next spring.
Yeah, sometime I would say that. Sometime in the spring we'll see and hear more actual concrete news, not moon phases about GTA 6.
Okay.
And speaking of Sony and the dumpster fire, they are closing Firewalk Studios. The game behind Firewalk Studios created Concord, which released last month. It was online for 2 weeks and then pulled. People were refunded and they closed the studios now officially. It was a very disastrous launch. Um, the message from the CEO of PlayStation Studios and Business Group, Herman Hulse, stated, "We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. So I want to thank all of Firewalk and their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication." Um, I call bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if they really thanked them for their craftsmanship and creative spirit, they wouldn't have closed them down in the first place. They would allow them to come to sort of fix what was troubled about the game, maybe come back as free to play or something. I think Herman Hulse here runs the responsibility for Firewalk Studios being closed down, and for the mobile studios, because I don't know if people know this, but a mobile studio was also closed down alongside Firewalk Studios. So Neon Koi is a mobile game um development studio. It was shut down alongside Firewalk Studios. It was over 210 people lost their jobs. So his words fall upon deaf ears, especially after losing $400 million with Concord and then just completely firing everybody. It's disgusting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely disgusting. And then no words from Holst or anybody can um sue the people who just lost their jobs because Sony made a bad bet on a video game.
Yeah, this whole situation is just it's royally just fucked. Like I don't know how else to describe it.
Yes.
It's just a bad situation for everybody involved because Not, it was literally like just over a year ago that they bought Firewalk Studios
Yep.
because they say they quote unquote believed in the game and they believed in the vision that the studio had and they were going to support the game and all this and that. And it's like all this could have been avoided if they just didn't buy the studio. Like the game was still being developed. Like it's not like the game was just like, oh, they had to buy the studio in order for the game to be finished. Like no, they were working on this game for what, like 4 years, 5 years or something like that under like PlayStation Studios. Like they were just publishing the game. And then they released they went in house to, I guess, to get more funding, and then now this happens like just over a year later. Like that's fucked up. Like how do you just buy a studio and then a year later, because their first game ever hit the mark and it failed, opt, they do away with them? Like they just throw them to the side? That was your fuck up. Like why would you punish the studio for you, like you said, making a bad bet? Like that's not their fault. That's your fault. They knew what they wanted to make. It didn't pan out. So, I mean, at least give them a chance at redemption or something like that. Make it free to play or re-release it later, or I don't know, do something to kind of like pick up the pieces and, you know, kind of like salvage what you can. But the fact that they're just throwing them away, it's like it sucks. And this is no different than when Microsoft closed down Arcane Austin. Like they, granted, that wasn't their first game, but that was first game under Xbox, and it flopped when they really didn't need a flop, and then they just closed them. Same thing with Hi-Fi Rush, although that was, or Tango Studios, although that was more of like
Different situation.
it was a different situation, and granted, they were able to come up with a solution so that way the team wouldn't be disbanded and laid off and stuff like that. I forget who bought them. The people behind PUBG, they bought them.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the publisher or whatever, but anyway, they were able to figure that one out. But still, with the Arcane stuff, like that's still, it's messed up. So this is just as bad, if not worse, because it's their first game. So, yeah, I definitely feel for everybody who was affected by this, and hopefully there's something that can be done to kind of like rectify it. I know every time, like, it sucks that I say it like this, like every time there's a studio layoff and stuff like that, like, that just goes to show how frequently this happens. But, that every time it happens, you know, other studios, they say, oh, we're hiring, so if you're looking for a job, like, please apply and stuff like that. So, hopefully the studio can, or the devs can like rebound and stuff like that and find some footing in the industry. But it's just a bad situation. It's just like Sony, like, again, Sony made a bad bet, and now they're kind of just washing their hands of it and just like, no, it's not our fault. We're gonna be rid of it, and we're gonna move on. And it's so callous, and it's so like just heartless.
Yeah.
And I just wish that they would have at least given them a shot to kind of like make it better or like rectify it in some way, but they didn't even do that. Like you would think. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Continue.
No, I was just saying, like, if you would think with so much money that was put into this that they would at least try to make it better, at least attempt to.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They threw away so much money. $400 million. And then on the other side, the Neon Koi side, this studio was purchased in 2022, and it was renamed to Neon Koi. They were working on their first action mobile game, and that was scrapped. Who knows how much money they invested into that, into that studio. It's for that game. It could be well over $500 million that they wasted on two games that didn't pan out, that they're just throwing away. I honestly think if Herman Hulst survives sort of this year as the CEO, and nobody says, hey, you made these bad calls, like, where's our money? Like, how can Sony just sit here and say, he's a good CEO. Let him continue going. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
absolutely
know. Yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Herman Hulse. This is not a good look for him. And I mean, granted, I don't think he's gonna be like ousted because of this, but it's definitely a bad look. Like this is your fault essentially. You took over after Jim Ryan. You can blame Jim Ryan because this was kind of his like edict in terms of like the live service push and stuff like that, but
yeah,
you took over, so anything that released when you took over is now under your watch. And this flop was under your watch.
yeah,
And so now you either have to pick up the pieces like you should have, or do what you just did now. And now we're seeing how he wants to operate. But I mean, hopefully this is like a learning lesson and they won't just rush into things. Because honestly, it felt like Concord was pushed out there to die. Like, it didn't feel like Sony was really behind the product. And despite what the developers may say, it just felt like they put so much money into it and they were just like, we got to release it. And they were just like, oh, well, they didn't make the money back. So in 2 weeks, so let's just pull the plug and shut down the studio. Like, that just seems so rash. It just felt like they were trying to fulfill their own prophecy and they just wanted it to fail because they just wanted to be done with it.
yeah.
But
I don't understand how as a company, how can anybody sit back and be like, it's fine, $500 million on 2 games, no big deal.
yeah,
Like, if it was my company, heads will roll, people will be
yeah,
fired, executives will be gone. We need a new team
that's
because they can't lead.
and that's one thing that really bothers me about this. Like, it's like nobody is ever like whenever these studio closures happen or these mass layoffs, nobody at the top is held accountable. You always see the same like apology, like, "Oh, we're so sorry. We feel for the." No, you don't. You don't. Just don't even say it. We know you don't. Like,
Yeah.
this goes for everybody in at Xbox, at PlayStation, Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo doesn't really do layoffs like that, but anywhere, EA, wherever, when you do layoffs, don't put the bullshit apology and try to like be sympathetic. Like, you are benefiting from this, so stop pretending like you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know how people could come back from this. But we digress because we can sit here ranting and raving all night
Oh
about
yeah,
about it. Let's move on to some news about the creative director at Wolverine leaves PlayStation for Xbox's Perfect Dark. So Insomniac is doing Wolverine. The creative director Brian Horton, he's leaving PlayStation and Insomniac Studios to work on Microsoft's Perfect Dark, which we don't know much about. We had sort of a gameplay reveal earlier this year, which looked very interesting. Very interested in Perfect Dark. So
Mhm.
for them they were, I believe, before this in development hell. They didn't know what the direction was going. People were talking about how it's not, they have to rewrite scripts and do all these changes. But I think they're finding their stride. They have this new director coming from Wolverine and Insomniac. And I think they're, after the reveal where it had positive outlooks on the game, I think they're now trying to get to a place where they can say, hey, let's release this really good game. I think hiring this director was pushing them in the right direction.
Yeah,
It's also like, I guess it's really upsetting because everybody knows that Insomniac had this giant leak where they talked about, all the DLC for Spider-Man, Wolverine, early build of the Wolverine game leaked, and people were actually playing it. So it's very troubled time in Insomniac. Now they're losing one of their creative directors to Xbox. It's kind of like, whew, it's a rough go for them over at Insomniac.
yeah. I mean, I would have to assume that the bulk of the work for Wolverine is already done because of the leak that happened. Like, it was pretty much like I mean, I don't want to say it was finished, but from based on what we saw, like it was mostly put together, like the story beats and the level design and stuff like that was kind of put together already. So, um, I mean, a creative director leaving isn't necessarily like indicative of how the development of that game is going. Maybe it shows like how far they're into it already, that basically they're just kind of like polishing and stuff like that and making sure that everything is kind of like up to par and stuff like that, to Insomniac standards. Because this game has been in development for how long already? Like 4 years, right? Or 3 years? It was announced. When was this announced? Wolverine. It was announced in 2021, right?
I believe so. They did like that teaser where he was sitting at
Yeah,
the bar.
it was literally announced the same PlayStation showcase as Spider-Man 2. And
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 already released already. So, I think Wolverine is probably going to be coming out either next year or maybe 2026, depending on how things play out. But yeah, I think the bulk of the game has been done already, but it just goes. I think this is more of just like, this is a big get for Xbox. If they're already done with that game, and if that game ends up being, I mean, we've seen Insomniac's work. Granted, we have our feelings about Spider-Man 2 and how it felt more of the same for like the first one, but it's still a good game. And if that can translate into Perfect Dark somehow, like with the creative director joining it, then that's more of a benefit for Xbox, where they can kind of like push forward with that new. Because is he also being the creative director for Perfect Dark, or is he just joining the team? Like I don't think they specified.
No, they didn't. They did not specify.
Okay, but either way, him joining the team is a net benefit to Xbox and that team in Crystal Dynamics and the Initiative.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing for Insomniac because, like I said, I think the game is already mostly done. But in terms of like going forward for Insomniac, depending on who they want to, like, if Wolverine ends up being a good game, they're not gonna have the creative director again. So maybe that might not be the best thing. But again, because of the leaks, we don't really know what's Insomniac's future now. Because I mean, who's to say that anything happens? We were supposed to get DLC for Spider-Man 2. Now we're not. So anything could happen at this point because of those leaks. But yeah, either way, it's still a benefit for Perfect Dark, and hopefully we can see more of that, because that gameplay definitely surprised me. Like, I honestly,
did.
I was kind of like iffy and on the fence of that game, but when they showed that first gameplay footage, I was like, okay, I can see the vision, I can see where you want this to be, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So, because one thing I did, I mean, granted, this is Perfect Dark, it was always first person, but whenever there's like a stealth game that's in first person, I'm kind of like, eh. Like, maybe it's just because I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan and Splinter Cell fan, so whenever I see stealth and like espionage and stuff like that, I want it to be in third person, just because like it feels better to like hide and stuff like that in third person than in first person. But if they can nail it with first person, and granted, earlier I was talking about Call of Duty, there's a lot of like sneaking and stuff like that, and that's in first person, so it can be done. It's just, I don't know. I guess I was expecting more for like a third person spy game, but if they can nail it in first person, then I mean, more than go for it. Like, God, I'm for it.
There are many great examples of like stealth games that are first person. Look at Thief. Look at Dishonored.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's so many really good games that are first person and stealth. You know, so it can definitely be done, because Thief and Dishonored, some of the most critically acclaimed games from. I think it was Bethesda that did them. So
I think, yeah, but I know Bethesda did Dishonored. I think technically Activision owns the Thief license, so technically Xbox owns it again.
Right back up.
I'm not too sure about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Thief, like stealth missions or sneaking missions, it can be done in first person. And I'm with you on what you said about Perfect Dark. The gameplay footage that we saw really surprised me. I was very uh taken aback to how good that it looked so early on. I was like, I'm in. I'm in. I'm gonna be playing this day one, you know?
Yeah.
So more we look forward to seeing more of Perfect Dark. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Hopefully next year. We're gonna find out more about like release dates. I know they didn't talk about it. Um so we gotta really dig deep into release dates for that game. But we look forward to it.
Yeah. No, definitely we're looking forward to it. But um, going back to the whole creative director stuff, I think ultimately it's not going to amount to much for us as like consumers and
Yeah,
gamers. But I think this is going to lead to a better product for Perfect Dark, though. So we'll just see how things play out.
definitely, definitely. All right, let's jump right into some news because we talked about uh Perfect Dark. Now we're gonna talk about Indiana Jones, which is releasing this December. And a lot of creators and news, how to say, publications went out to see it. Indiana Jones, like IGN went out. I know Gamer Rant went out. PC Magazine went out. A lot of people went out to go play sort of a first build or almost a finished build of Indiana Jones. And a lot of people came back with their thoughts and gathered everything and wrote many articles about it. And basically, if you liked Indiana Jones, if you liked the movies, this is exactly that. It's a basically a continuation of the movies. You are Indiana Jones. You do not always have a gun. You have a whip and your fist, and you're out there punching Nazis and discovering things as a teacher slash archaeologist. And it's a very stealth oriented um, game where you're going out there looking for different artifacts and trying to solve puzzles. And to me, that sounds like indie, and I'm all for it. I saw some gameplay footage this past week of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and I'm really excited to play this game. It's not probably not going to be like some record-breaking smash hit like Black Ops 6, but I'm still looking forward to this game. This game looks good, and I just can't wait to step into the shoes of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, so I was never really like an Indiana Jones fan growing
Time
up
out.
because
Time out for you.
listen, it was before my time, okay? And then
Damn it, that's the second time tonight.
I apologize. I didn't mean to throw shade. But yeah, it was not really my thing. Like, granted, like anything from Lucasfilm was not really my thing back then. Like, I just got into Star Wars like within the past few years. So,
we're gonna have to fight.
no, but what I was gonna say is that this game, getting as positive review or previews, as it has, and just seeing the gameplay and like the setting and stuff like that, it makes me want to watch the movies now because this does take place before or in between the first and second movie. So, part of me wants to watch the movie just so that way I have the context of everything that's going on and stuff like that.
Oh my god, have you never seen an Indiana Jones movie?
No, I've never watched it. No.
Let's end the podcast right now. That's what you're gonna do. Let me stop.
That's my homework. No, but I do want to watch it now because of this game, and hopefully even like after because I'll have to watch the first movie and then play the game, and then maybe after playing the game, I want to watch the rest of the movies. Oh
my god.
I would I would have to imagine that maybe that's part of the goal with this is to kind of breathe life back into the indie franchise. And maybe, I mean, I don't know if they plan on doing anything more with the franchise after that last movie that didn't get that great reviews.
No, all you need is 1, 2, and 3. That's it.
Okay. But anyway, what I've heard based on like the previews that I've seen from people online, that it's kind of like a mix between Wolfenstein and Dishonored in terms of like it's a lot of stealth, but it's also like there's action-packed moments, and I think, and then there's puzzles thrown in there. So I think it could potentially be like right up my alley because I love well, I only played the first Dishonored, but I did play both of the Wolfenstein games. I didn't play what was it the most recent one.
Oh, the Blood and something. I forget the name.
Yeah, New
Yeah,
Blood, I think it's called.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
the one that didn't review so well because it was kind of like a co-op game and it was online, something like that. I mean, I do want to play it eventually. I'll probably do it soon when Wolfenstein 3 is announced. Um, but yeah, so I love Wolfenstein and I like Dishonored, so I feel like this could be the game to play. I mean, I think a lot of people have a lot of like preconceived notions about what it should be because it's Indiana Jones. You would think like when it was first announced, oh, it's probably going to be like Uncharted. It's probably going to be like Tomb Raider. No, this is Machine Games. Like they have a specialty. They know how to make certain games to the best of their ability and they nail it every single time. So it's like why would you want them to deviate so much? Not that it couldn't be done, not to say that they couldn't do like an Uncharted type game, but that's not what they wanted to do. So that this is the game that they're making. So I'm glad that people are finding positives about it. So hopefully, as we get closer to release, we'll see more positivity regarding it, and hopefully, this could just be another game to look forward to that's launching day one on Game Pass, and then also a few months later on PlayStation 5. But we don't talk about that. But anyway,
Yeah, no, and another big positive from the preview that people were talking about is um the voice actor for
oh
Indiana
no,
Jones. What's his name? I
Troy
forget.
Baker.
Troy Baker. Everybody's saying it sounds exactly like Harrison Ford, like a young Harrison Ford. And
You know,
and Troy Baker, he's a magician.
yo, I was
He
just about to say that.
No way.
I was gonna say he can transform his voice. You know,
Yes.
in what was it in Arkham Origins, he played the Joker.
Yes, he did.
That when I found that out, I was like, "There's no fucking way! How?" He sounded just like Mark Hamill. I was like,
Yeah,
"How do you do this, guy?" Like that. The fact that he could do that and play Indiana Jones, and it's like it's phenomenal. Like
yeah,
he really is. Like he has so much range,
absolutely. Too much range. It's
too
ridiculous.
much range.
It's too much range. He needs to be stopped. No, he does so much voice acting. I mean, he was in even God of God of War Ragnarok. He was in the Valhalla DLC. He did voices for Fortnite. He was Jonesy.
Oh yeah,
He was in so much and in so many.
and obviously like the main one like Joel from Uncharted. Oh, not
Yeah,
Uncharted. Oh, Last of Us.
Last of
Said
Us was
Uncharted.
Joel and The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Um, it was in the original God of War Ragnarok, not just the DLC. It was also in there as one of the squirrels. So
Oh,
he
for real?
yes, and Batman vs Superman, Battle of the Super Sons that came out 2022. He was Bruce Wayne. He was Batman. Um,
Oh
so
boy.
he does so much. He absolutely so much. He's done Star Wars stuff, DC stuff. He was in Far Cry, Death Stranding. He's been in so much. This guy, he was in Spider-Man Miles Morales. He's done so much. It's ridiculous, and his range, his acting is so
Oh
just
yeah, I
on
forgot.
point.
He was also Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Look at that. I didn't even know
No.
he was Ocelot.
Yeah, he was young Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's
Completely
crazy.
forgot.
That's crazy. He's been in so much, and his range is so crazy. Like the fact that people are saying it sounds exactly like Harrison Ford is on par with who he is. Like his voice acting skills. And I didn't even know this. I'm looking. I'm looking now. He was in Naruto.
Oh my gosh.
He played Yamato in the video games. He played characters on the actual show for the English version. It's absolutely insane. He's done so much. He's such a great voice actor. So
Oh, he was in One Piece too. He was Helmeppo. Oh
yes,
shit.
he's done so. It's absolutely ridiculous the amount of work that this man has done. And if that is a big highlight for this game, I'm excited just based off of that. Troy Baker is amazing in his voice work, and his work, whether you like Xbox or not, his work is amazing, and it's good to just get in the game and see his work.
Yo, he better win freaking best voice actor, the Game Awards.
No, that's reserved for PlayStation only games.
Oh yeah, he's on a PlayStation game, so
Oh man. So yeah, that's just looking forward to Indiana Jones. All the previews have been coming out and it's been great. Everybody's talking good stuff about it. Really mad I couldn't preview it myself.
yeah.
But we December 2nd or 6th, sorry, December 6th will come soon enough. We'll all be able to enjoy it if you own Game Pass day one. All right, and the last bit of news that we have, we're talking about a game that just came out. It came out on yesterday, actually. So our Friday, the first. Okay, we're talking about Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It is being heavily review bombed all over Metacritic and even sometimes on Steam is showing Steam reviews while I'm looking at the article right now. Um, the user score is very, very generally unfavorable, it states, as sitting at a 3.3 when the Metacritic is at 84. So far, I have not played the game myself. I do intend to play it. I hear great things about the combat, the movement, and how it's really one of the best games that EA has come out so far this year. It's all the things I'm hearing are really good. And all the things that are bad are from people who have not even played the game, who are just upset that there's a trans surgical scars on one of the characters. And it really is upsetting because there are a lot of people who worked on this game. There are a lot of people who are banking on this game to be successful, so that way more games like another Mass Effect could come out.
Yeah.
And the fact that people review bombing it who haven't played it, who don't know anything about any of the characters, they see something online and they go with their bigotry and their hate just to review bomb a game. It's just absolutely just ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of seeing this sort of trend where any game that comes out, if it has any hint of like it's politically inaccurate to their views or what they deemed as normal in their lives, they're going to review bomb it. And we talked about the FTC potentially putting out rules where it stops people from review bombing and or allowing only people who purchase the game to review it, so that way it can verify if you've actually played the game or not. These rules need to be in place sooner rather than later, because this doesn't just affect the video game and what people believe. It can affect people's pockets, people's jobs, people's lives.
Yeah.
We see that in examples where, like, there's a YouTuber, Linus Tech.
Yeah, Linus Tech Tips, yeah.
Linus Tech Tips, where he literally closed down a electric car company because of his review of their very first electric car. Their electric car company doesn't even exist anymore because of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, granted, it was warranted in that instance. It was warranted because it was really terrible. But like the power that people have with their voices online, whether it be on a review or whether it be just them speaking on Twitter about a game negatively, without having experienced the game firsthand, it needs to stop.
Yeah. I mean, so I've seen about the stuff that's going on with Dragon Age Veilguard. I mean, I was never really into Dragon Age, so I mean that's coming from somebody who's like Mass Effect is their favorite franchise. I never really got into Dragon Age. I tried, so this kind of is like it's weird situation for me because like on the one hand I have no real like interest in it, but I can see like the chatter regarding it, and it's so childish. Like honestly, like at this point, we got to stop judging games based on the content that's in it that doesn't mix with like your ideology and stuff like that. And like you said, like the whole politics and stuff like that. It's tired. Like we made fun of that guy last year. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. That's when Starfield came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole guy where he was saying that Starfield's too woke because they have the they them pronouns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so like, why are we still discussing this? Like, why is this such an issue at this point? Like, honestly, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, and the fact that it's review bombing, what I've heard and what I've seen is a very good game. Like, granted, there's some issue that people have with it, but for the most part, I've heard good things about it, and I've seen good reviews. And if you're looking on like Metacritic or even the platform review things that they have, like it's been reviewed positively. So this is for all intents and purposes a good game. Like this should be a good game, but because it's too quote unquote woke, people will just shit on it, regardless of if the game is fun, if the game is like the good writing or anything like that. Because it features such and such characters that I don't agree with, it's shit. And that's so like one-dimensional minded thinking. I don't understand why people are still doing this to this day. Like it honestly, like it really isn't that big of a deal. Like if you just don't play it. Like if it's not your thing, just don't play it. Like I understand like that whole mentality where it's like, oh, if you don't like it, don't play it. Like that could be damaging. But in reality, as consumers, that's all you need to do. Like if you don't agree with something, don't support it. And then if it's successful or if it's not successful, then it was always meant to be that way. So like what difference does it make? Like why do you need to go on a whole freaking tirade and review bomb it and try to spread negativity about it just because you don't agree with it? Like it's not for you. It's not for you. Like people made the same argument for Concord, but Concord, that wasn't a failure because it was quote unquote too woke. It was because it was a game that it didn't fit in the context of the gaming landscape today. It was basically like 10 years too late because we already have so many other hero shooters, and the most popular ones are the most successful. Like if you introduce a new one, people are not likely to gravitate towards it unless you support it long afterwards, which Sony didn't do. So the fact that people are trying to blame wokeness on Concord's failures, like no, that's not what Concord failed on. Not even close. So now they're trying to do the same thing for Dragon Age Veilguard or the Veilguard, and they're failing because it's actually doing very well. Like it's actually selling very well. I think it's like number 2 on Steam or something behind Call of Duty. So the fact that like the whole quote unquote go woke, go broke stuff is being disproven is like angering people to the point that they have to go and review bomb the game because they feel like their voices matter more than others. And it's like, no, like that was never the case. You can have your opinions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is good or bad. And honestly, I just wish it would end. I wish we would stop basing and judging games off of how progressive or improgressive they are and stuff like that. It's like I don't care if you don't want to hear about they them in a fantasy game. Like it's a fantasy game. Anything goes. Like
you're fighting a dragon as a dwarf.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like there is no like standard for fantasy. Anything can happen. Like if you've played D&D before, anything can happen. It does not matter what pronoun somebody uses or whatever. Like that's up to the discretion of in D&D terms, the DM. But in this case, it's up to the developers. If they want to introduce like trans characters, which they have in previous Dragon Age games, then that's up to them. And if you don't want it, then don't play it. Like I don't understand why people want to make it such a big deal that they like you said, they don't even play the game. So it's like, what does it matter to you? So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. And I'm honestly glad that Dragon Age is being so successful out the gate because one, I do want another Mass Effect game. And I know that's happening.
Facts, bro. Big
Yeah.
facts.
So if this is successful, then eventually we'll get another Mass Effect game, hopefully sooner rather than later. I know we're getting one, but who knows? It could be canceled. Um,
Wow,
knock on
calm
wood.
down.
Knock on wood. I don't have wood around me.
I got you right now. I got wood right here, bro.
There you go.
Crazy.
But yeah, glad that it's still it's flying in the face of all those freaking naysayers and stuff like that, or crying over nonsense.
Yeah, let
And
'em
it just
cry.
goes to show, yeah, just let them cry, let them bitch and piss and moan, and
Oh, we
just,
have fun playing Dragon Age.
yeah, that makes me want to play it more. Maybe this will be the tipping point. Maybe I'll get into Dragon Age just because of these freaking losers.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I never got into Dragon Age as well either. Okay, I didn't like the game originally was on 360. Even though technically I owned it. I owned the game. I owned Dragon Age 1 and 2.
Or Origins,
I never
yeah.
really even got I never really got into it. Then I started playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't know, something clicked. I fell in love with it, and I looked at the lore and the story because I wasn't gonna go back as an Xbox Series X player, go back to a 360 game and just play that type of. I can't do it. I couldn't do it. So I went and looked up a YouTube video of the lore behind Dragon Age and all the way up to where I was playing. And it was really interesting. And it made me want to play more because I really liked Inquisition. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to jump into Dragon Age. The review bombing is not going to sway me either way. I know people are having fun playing it, and I just want to have fun too.
And that's one thing that I've heard, that despite people, like I know there's some people who like they're not too fond of like the writing and stuff. They say that it feels like it's made for like Gen Z and stuff like that. And granted, if you feel that way, fine. But ultimately, what they've said is that the gameplay is still fun, like regardless of that. And honestly, that's the main thing to be aware of. Is the game fun to play? That's the first thing that should be accomplished. If it is, then you're fine. Like you can put up with all the that. I feel like, I mean, it's like the prime example of a game that like I didn't really like. Not stylistically. What am I like creatively?
Art style?
No, not the art style. Like the story, the way it was told, I didn't like it because it was told in like an episodic way, and that's not how like every other game has been told. So it was very like it was odd. It felt off, but the gameplay was so like fine-tuned to perfection that I put up with it. And honestly, it's one of the funnest games I've played, despite all the like the story issues and stuff like that. So it's like,
What game
I guess
you're speaking about?
Metal Gear Solid 5,
Okay,
The Phantom Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, it was more like open world, and it was like a sandbox type game. And honestly, like it nailed the gameplay that it kind of made up for everything else. And I think I mean, granted, it varies gamer to gamer, but for me, that's the most important thing. And that's what I've heard from Dragon Age, that it nails the gameplay. So you kind of can forgive everything else that might fall short.
Well, screw the haters. We're gonna enjoy our time playing these games.
Hell yeah.
And that's it for the news. We'll end it there.
There we go.
We'll end it there. But with screw the haters.
Screw the haters, yes. But don't screw us because we still want your views.
Knock on
Remember,
wood.
yeah, knock on wood. Remember, you can like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to a podcast app, you can rate us and leave comments because we definitely enjoy our comments. We do interact with them when we get them. And if you look in the description, you can see the links to our sponsors. And if you click them, you will support them, which in turn will support us. And you can do that for W Energy. You can use code LUP at checkout to save 10% off your first order. You can click for NordVPN. You can save some money off of a subscription. And you can also click the link for StarForge PCs, which will give you some options for custom PCs and anything you may like. That'll do it for us. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
Laters.